Go.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just researching history. What is facing history, you ask? The better question is, what isn't facing history?
So facing history means to me learning to not repeat the mistakes that we've made in the past and trying to improve our society today. So events such as the Holocaust, these things in modern society, such as like the Armenian genocide and the Rwandan genocide that we learned in class recently, these things were similar to the Holocaust in that they were mass genocides of people, but we have to learn from these mistakes and learn to not repeat it, and that's why we take this class.
Facing history also means being a good community member. So not just allowing yourself to blend into the background, but to make sure that you don't fall victim to the bystander effect. For instance, this bus is so full that I could just leave this poor girl sleeping, even though we've reached our destination, because I could just expect that someone else on the bus is going to do it. But as a facing history student, I would never do that, because that's the bystander effect. Time to wake up, friends.
I feel refreshed. Thanks for waking me up.
Otherwise, she wouldn't have been able to catch that football.
It's important to face history more than just learn about it, because when you learn about history, you're just learning facts and figures. And I think the most important part of learning about history is coming to terms with what it means, the implications for the present. There's the old platitude, those who forget history are doomed to repeat it. And I don't necessarily believe that, but everything is steeped in historical context, every current event, every political issue, it's all steeped in politics, and so it's really important to understand why the history that you learn matters. Whether you're talking about the history of racial strife in this country, or you're talking about the history of the Constitution and how it defines us. It's always so important to fully understand historical context and historical intent before you can ever apply your knowledge of history to what's happening in your contemporary environment.
Go.
Today in the United States, the gay rights movement is a really prominent movement. Only 13 states have yet to gain equality, marriage equality. 37 states have it now. Harvey Milk is a big proponent of the gay rights movement, and he once said that all young people, regardless of their sexual orientation or identity, deserve a safe and supportive environment in which to achieve their full potential.
In the past month, Ireland has been the first country to allow same-sex marriage across the country. This is a huge step in the gay rights movement because being the first country, it sort of paves the way for every other country. Hopefully the United States will be the next one.
I think history is important to remember the events that happened so we can learn from them and like not make the same mistakes that we've like previously had leading to war, or like try and better solve things better in a better way.
Go.
So the saying goes that those who don't remember history are doomed to repeat it. And I think that a critical piece of facing history is kind of looking at past mistakes that our world has made and trying to educate people on how to do better. So I think it's a really important class because it allows us to kind of look at things that perhaps were failures in the past and figure out how to avoid those same failures in the future.
Go.
Okay, I think learning history is important for two reasons. One is maybe it will help you understand how to lead your life and learn important lessons to do positive things in life. and the other maybe to help steer away from negative things and learn from mistakes made in the past.
What is facing history to you?
Facing history to me is about looking back into what had happened throughout history and seeing that we must accept each other and make the most of things so that history doesn't repeat itself. Because there are large parts of history that aren't the best, and really we have to learn from that and know what to do in the future.
Why do we learn about history? I think it's part of our history, and also we want to face what we've done wrong and move forward and not make the same mistakes.
History also means kind of understanding the implications that our history has had in the past. For instance, the Tuskegee syphilis study led to this huge distrust of government, which is still very present today in terms of medical research studies that have to do with cancer and AIDS and things like that. Especially in the African American community, people are much more reluctant to participate in these studies just because they know what has happened and they've seen it in their history, and because it's so recent, it is a lot more present in our lives. So just kind of in general, history can allow us to understand the implications of our actions before we go through with them.
Why is history important, you ask? Well, I think we should learn about past events so in the future we can overcome things that come our way.
History helps us learn about the good and bad things to help us shape the future.
Martin Luther King once said, "History will have to record that the greatest tragedy of this period of social transition was not the strident clamor of the bad people, but the appalling sounds of the good."
Winston Churchill once said, "History will be kind to me, for I intend to write it."